Winning cures everything. Now for your hosts, Gary and Chris.
Hola, amigos. Winning cures everything. I'm Gary.
And I'm Chris.
And it is Tuesday, July the 14th. And we got a ton of stuff to discuss. Not all sports today, but a lot of it does kind of involve sports. So we'll get to all that. Before we begin, the website, of course, winningcureseverything.com. Go and check it out. All of our picks, previews, podcasts, videos, social media platforms, etc. If you are watching the show live right now, you are obviously on either Periscope, Twitch, Facebook, or YouTube. Make sure you are subscribed there and that you have shared the show out with your buddies. So, first things first on this, before we do, make sure you go subscribe to the podcast. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, whatever your favorite podcast app is. Leave a nice 5-star written review. We would appreciate that. Michael Fritz jumps in on Twitch already. He said, "What's up, fellas?" Damian jumps in. He said, "What's up?" If you are wanting to jump in the chat, you can help drive the show today. You can drive how the stories evolve. It's right there in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen if you are watching the show. If you're listening to it, you can always submit a question, submit a comment, whatever. Leave a nice review over at Apple Podcasts, and we will be able to talk about it. So we had a nice gentleman, Jackson from Australia, who jumped in yesterday and left a nice review for us on Apple Podcasts. And we will read your review as well if you leave them over there. Just put your name on it, and we will tell it to the world. Michael said, "I missed the rest of the show, but caught it on my drive home. I agree with Chris. Thought they were going to fight on the beach, and my feet were sore watching the boring main event." Yeah, the foot stomping and whatnot, just a pain in my ass is what it was. But before we begin the actual topics of the show, wanted to bring in a little hope today, right? Chris brought this to my attention. We kind of keep up with it because we live in Mississippi. Mississippi high school football will begin practice on August 17th, and they will have a season starting on September the 4th. So we're going to have some football in the South somewhere. That's definitely a good thing. Now, Chris, before I jump into the other hope-filled news that I'm going to give you, what are your thoughts here? You figured 2 weeks?
I was shocked. I thought if anything was going to be canceled, it would be high school sports, and it was just simply because they don't make any money.
It seemed weird.
It's hard to come up with a reason for doing it.
Yeah.
And so, if they can do it, they can do it safely, and these kids can get through a season. I'll tell you this: it is probably going to help these kids in recruiting.
100%.
Because 100%. If all these other states aren't playing football and you've got an extra year, all these seniors are going to have a lot of eyes on them.
Yeah, no, you've got that right. Ben said that sounds like a bad idea. I just find it weird that they would do August 17th to September 4th is the only practice time. Like, that just seems...
And I think some of these have been having, like, their gyms are open. Yeah. And stuff. Like when I played football during the summer, it wasn't mandatory at all, but it was definitely watched. I guess you could say how many workouts we did, and how many we didn't, and so I know that some of those gyms just from local kids have been open, and these kids are getting together working,
and they've been working out. So Damian said, "Oh well, hold on." Michael said, "Good to hear it. Kids need something to look forward to. As long as they can do it safely, why not?" That's our point with college football. That's our point with everything, right? You need something to look forward to. Otherwise, I mean, depression is a real thing. That's a very serious thing. Damian jumps in on YouTube. He said, "Hey, question, what's y'all's thoughts on the reports of the NFL moving the season to New Zealand? I think it is complete bunk. I don't think it's going to happen."
That was not a report. That was Mia Kimes dicking around on the Ringer.
Yeah, I don't think that's happening. So
no.
We ain't got nothing to worry about with that now.
Which I love Mia Kimes, and I wouldn't be upset. Listen, if it got me a full season, then I would be 100% all in on it. Yeah. But that was her and Bill Simmons were just screwing around.
Yes, agreed. Ben said, "I'm worried that they will infect their families, a lot of whom are low income and don't have great health care." Agreed, but the recovery rate on this thing is like 99.9%. So. Again, yes, it's serious.
High school kids are more – I'm worried more about high school kids for the very reason of a large majority of those kids probably do live at home with grandparents.
Yeah.
And you're right. I mean, a lot of high school football was, low income kids. We didn't have a lot of money. And yeah. And we lived multi-generational in a house to be able to afford the house. So, I grew up that way. I had several friends that grew up that way. I know a lot of kids. I mean, kids in my neighborhood live like that.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's not abnormal at all. I thought it was shocking.
It's a serious thing. I mean, it's just serious. But it's, you find a way to make it work. Like if somebody in your house has the flu or whatever, if they're not feeling well, then you make sure that and I understand all the asymptomatic stuff. We're not going to dive down this rabbit hole today, but everybody knows my thoughts. And if you don't, you can go back and watch the show yesterday on why I think we should have a college football season. There you go. Here is the other bit of hopeful news. Chris, I don't know if you saw this. The AP broke it at 4:13 p.m. Central Time. The first vaccine tested in the U.S. for the coronavirus boosted volunteers' immune systems as hoped, researchers report. The final study starts this month. We could have a vaccine very, very soon. I am excited about this. So it is at apnews.com. You can go check it out. You can also find it over on the AP's Twitter account. That is at AP. But we're making progress. We got a vaccine coming. I am excited about it. So here's hoping all the tests and whatnot go correctly, and we'll go from there. Michael said depression and, hell, half of those kids probably stay eligible for sports only. You got to give people something to work towards. You got to give people something to focus on. So that's neither here nor there. Let's dive into some real news for today. This is a pretty big deal. Chris Jones, we'll talk about this one first, and the Chiefs got their deal done. 4 years, $85 million, $60 million of it guaranteed. So they locked up Mahomes, they locked up Chris Jones, and they are set for dynasty status, or at least they're going to try for it, it looks like. Yeah. These were the two most important pieces that they needed to make sure that they got deals done really in this offseason. I understand Mahomes still had 2 years left on his deal. I get that. But you wanted to make sure everybody's happy, everybody's good to go going into next season. And, I mean, as long as they got those two, centerpieces, they got a shot to win a Super Bowl every year. Like,
well, yeah, they're going to be in the conversation every year with Mahomes, just Mahomes and Andy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Chris Jones deal is a big deal, though. Chris Jones is a hell of a player from Mississippi State. And, he's been a pretty great pro so far, and he's somebody you wanted to try to get locked up and taken care of.
Oh, 100%. I mean, he is the centerpiece of that. He's the leader of that defensive line. And, I mean, he's a beast. He's an absolute beast. And, no, Kansas City's defense is not the greatest in the league or whatnot. And you don't have to be if you've got Patrick Mahomes on the other side of the ball. But you do still need, it's not like Mahomes and them went crazy in the Super Bowl. They had some games this year where they got slowed down a little bit. If you've got a good enough defense, then you can withstand those games where you get slowed down a little bit, where you're not putting up 45 points a game. Like, that's why the defense is important. You got to have at least a decent one on that side. That's why the Chris Jones the Chris Jones signing is so incredibly important, which brings us into the other massive deal that was talked about today, Myles Garrett for your Cleveland Browns. 5 years, $125 million. That's an average of $25 million a year. Michael jumps in. He said, love to see KC spending that money. What about the Browns spending that money? That's a lot of money on a defensive lineman. You think he's worth it?
Yes, 100%. Yes.
I knew you would.
Yes. Oh, yeah. No,
tell me your thoughts.
Worth it. No, he's gonna contend, and he's gonna be in the conversation for Defensive Player of the Year every year. He's an absolute monster, and he's coming into his prime in this league. And if this team can be surrounded by grown-ups at all, they have a chance to change their identity from being just bumbling oafs to something legit and competitive.
I like the way that you said that. Bumbling oafs.
Well, that's the only way I know how to describe them. That's what they've been.
That's what they have been. The last couple of years. Let's see. Damian says Myles Garrett equals Khalil Mack. Let's see. Jose jumped in. He said, Whoops, he's a beast. Joseph said KC needs more from the run game than last year. Well, they got Clyde, so
they about to get something.
I think they got that. Michael said paying everybody does not equal a dynasty. They'll lose key role players. Hasn't anyone learned from the Pats?
Well, no, nobody has learned from the Pats. Nobody.
Look. I understand that. I understand all of that. I think that this is a very important signing. I think that Chris Jones is a very important signing. I think that Myles Garrett. You need to have important pieces. You need to have big-time pieces on that side of the ball, especially on the defensive line. That's where games are won.
That's right.
Honestly, they really are. If you can get any kind of pressure on the opposing quarterback, if you can stop the run game, you can dominate.
Cleveland. You have to find somebody who can get to, slow down, control, and contain Lamar Jackson. First thing you have to do before any game planning starts is look at your division.
Yeah.
And say, how do we want to build this team? Well, we got that bastard right there that we got to stop. Now, how do we do that? And you build everything around that. Everybody, if you're the Broncos right now, you need to be doing everything, and Chargers, everything you can do to figure out this problem that you have in Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, that's what everybody in the division
and everything works backwards from there. When you were an NFC, AFC South team for the longest time, 17 years, Peyton Manning was a problem. Yeah. Tom Brady in the AFC North was a problem. And they had all these other teams. You just start working backwards to figure out how to solve these problems. And that's just the way you have to work. Both the Browns and getting Chris Jones signed was just important to the Chiefs, and just they can't let everybody walk because they signed Mahomes.
It most certainly was.
The Browns are absolutely trying to problem solve for being years in the league with Lamar.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see. Oh, good gracious. The chat just went a little crazy. Hold on. Joseph Gomez said, "Do the Pats tank if they start at 2-5?" They're not gonna start at 2-5, and no, they're not gonna tank.
And they're not gonna tank.
Michael said, "I'm the biggest Von Miller fan around, but we have won nothing since paying him. It's not all his fault, but he's only as good as who's next to him." That is a valid point.
Your quarterback situation since you paid him has been atrocious. So you can't put that on paying him.
Jose jumped in and said Chubbs is back for the Broncos. So that's a big thing.
Once again, that ain't the problem that they've had either, by the way.
No, not at all. Not at all. Matthew Miller jumps in. Broncos have done well defensively against the Chiefs. We need the offense to pick up. And Michael then, of course, jumps in. He said, "Chris, we got Chubb and Miller. Hopefully both are healthy. Both healthy will help." Yeah.
Y'all need a trigger man.
Yeah. Look, I think Drew Lock is the guy. I have a lot of faith in that.
That's fine. He might be. He could be. That's okay. But their problem wasn't, well, damn, we paid Vaughn and now we can't win.
Yeah,
their problem is we just keep putting morons and people who are just incapable of playing the position at quarterback. And we're wasting draft picks on quarterbacks.
The first 7 games, by the way, for the Patriots, they've got Miami at home. They're playing at Seattle, the Raiders at home, at Kansas City, the Broncos at home, the 49ers at home. That's their first 7 games. So, sorry. And then at the Bills. So, no, they're not going to go 2-5 to start. I'm a Steelers fan.
People are shoveling dirt on the Pats way too early.
Absolutely.
Be careful. Just be careful. You're going to get if you hate them so much that you're already shoveling dirt, you probably just need to tone down those expectations because you're going to get your feelings hurt. You're really going to be pissed off in about week 8.
I see Michael trying to toss a little shade here. He said, "Our quarterback situation has been terrible. Thanks, Memphis and Paxton. That's not our fault that your boys drafted him in the first round."
I was just about to say that is a Jonathan Elway problem, not a Memphis problem. Okay, he did great here.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, Ben jumps in. He said they paid Osweiler and drafted Paxton Lynch. That's their problem.
The heist.
Yes.
But listen, Mike Lombardi should be just a nicknaming genius for coming up with a name for Brock Osweiler called the heist with the amount of money that he was paid.
Yeah. Michael said, by the way, no, Ben, Houston paid Osweiler. We got him for pennies. He wasn't worth pennies.
You still brought him back.
Yeah, you did bring him back. Matt Miller said, if Drew Lock can be Dak Prescott, we got a shot because the defense will be great again. Matt Miller said the Pats will go 10-6 with a wild card berth. And then Ben said, oh, yeah, my bad. So, with that said,
all right,
We can jump off of the NFL stuff for just a minute. And I want to talk about some real-world problems, okay? Now, this is real-world stuff. Michael, close us out. It is an Elway problem for sure. Had to give y'all a hard time. And then Jose said, Brown safety needs to be a spy for Lamar Jackson's running game. Look, they need a lot of spies for Lamar Jackson. I'll just say that.
But if you can keep him from hitting that edge, there is no genetic freak in the NFL like Myles Garrett.
No, there's absolutely.
I've watched them all for the last 2 to 3 years. There is not a specimen in the league like him.
No, not even close. Not even close.
There are a few in the world like him.
Now, that's a good transition, Chris. Nicely done. There are few in the world like this. In Colorado, they have found a dead squirrel that tested positive for the bubonic plague. Now, we talked about...
I would like to know why they tested the dead squirrel for the plague.
I would love to know that as well. There's nothing in the article about it.
Scrape a squirrel off the road and say, let's test this thing?
All right, so here's what it says. Public health officials have announced that a squirrel in Colorado has tested positive for the bubonic plague. The town of Morrison, Colorado, in Jefferson County, which is just west of Denver, made the announcement saying that the squirrel is the first case of plague in the country this year. Plague is an infectious disease caused by the bacteria Yersinia pestis and can be contracted by humans and household animals if proper precautions are not taken, officials from Jefferson County Public Health said in a statement released to the public. It is possible for humans to be infected with the bubonic plague through bites from infected fleas and by direct contact with blood or tissues of infected animals, such as a cough or a bite. There's all sorts of other stuff that it talks about, different symptoms of the plague, which is sudden onset of high fever, chills, headache, nausea, extreme pain and swelling of lymph nodes, et cetera, et cetera. This is absolutely insane. It says that the risk for contracting the plague is extremely low, but is this not insane? We just talked about whatever the new swine flu thing was. Ben said, I think we have antibodies for these. Yeah, probably so. But this is just fitting for 2020, and I had to make sure that we threw it in here because it's the freaking bubonic plague. Like, why would this be in a squirrel in Colorado right now for any other reason other than murder hornets and COVID-19?
Once again, my question is just, I want to know how they randomly tested this. And is it because somebody put the plague into this squirrel and then they were like, with a tracker, and when this tracker dies, we got to go get him?
Yeah. The CDC says even though there is no vaccine for the plague, it can be treated successfully with antibiotics if caught within 24 hours of existing symptoms. Now, symptoms can take anywhere from 2 to 7 days to pop up, but apparently antibiotics, you can fix it. It says arguably the most infamous plague outbreak was the so-called Black Death, a multi-century pandemic that swept through Asia and Europe. It was believed to start in China in 1334, spreading along trade routes and reaching Europe via Sicilian ports in the late 1340s. So it killed an estimated 25 million people, which is slightly different than what we are dealing with right now with COVID-19.
So it's a little history lesson for folks about the plague. I know this. They thought this is where science does something and then actually makes the problem a lot worse because they don't really know what they're doing when we're learning about these things. They thought the plague was spread by cats. And so they killed all the cats. And really it was spread by mice and rats. And with the cats all gone.
Yeah, them cats did not have to die.
Substantially worse.
Yes. So they messed up a little bit. Michael jumps in. They love their weed in Colorado. Absolutely. Monster X Gaming 652 on Twitch said, I like cheese sticks, and brother, so do I. Michael says, Morrison is beautiful, though. Red Rocks Amphitheater is up there. Yes, that is a beautiful area of the world. I have not gotten to go to Red Rocks, but I've had friends that have played Red Rocks. So, yes, I've seen pictures. I've seen videos. It is fantastic. Matt Miller said, I really think we're living in a simulation. I know it sounds crazy, but all this happening in 1 year has to be 1 in a billion. Yeah, that's kind of why I brought this up. Right? I mean, it's just insane. Joseph said, damn, those symptoms sound like what most people feel after 4 shots of Fireball. That's true. Ben said there was one in Yosemite a few years ago. I did hear about that. Ben said that's what environmental scientists do. They study dead rodents. Damien said, thanks, China. And Matt Miller said, well, this one didn't come from China, but back in the 1300s, yeah. Matt Miller said, so we should just suspend travel to and from China indefinitely. No. I got friends that went over and interned in China and stuff like that. It's good to be able to travel and see different cultures and whatnot. I'm a big believer in travel.
Didn't say forever.
I know, but I don't. Well, I guess indefinitely. Maybe you're right.
So yeah, right now nobody needs to go over there right now.
No, not right now. But I don't think you can.
Travel restrictions kind of all over right now. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it's that. I mean, I guess it is suspended right now, right?
I'm okay with the word indefinitely.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. But now forever, I don't believe in forever because I think people should travel. They should see everywhere. So, with that done, we will move on to the next topic here. And this one kind of happened yesterday. And hopefully, Chris, you've got a little more information than I do.
Okay.
But the person that bought the naming rights for the Redskins was who? It was a real estate person?
So, all right.
Give me the details.
There's an unbelievable troll job going on in Washington, okay? As soon as Dan Snyder started catching flack for the name Redskins, again, this turnaround, someone who's just a fantastic troll went out, and I'm really disappointed in myself, by the way. This is me very disappointed in me, okay? Went out and bought the naming rights, the trademark for all the possible names that you can think of the Washington team might choose.
Yeah.
And what I wish I would have done was buy all of them but the one I want them to choose. and then try to hope that the goodness of the world comes back to me in collecting him, because I don't think it's a real expensive process to trademark stuff. But he trademarked a bunch of things, and now the reason they weren't able to name the official team yesterday,
which is what they were planning on, right?
Yes, they were planning on it. They're working on the rights, the trademark rights, because they don't have them.
Yeah, because it's some random real estate agent.
Options have been bought up.
Yeah, apparently this was a real estate agent somewhere that bought them all up.
I do think so. A lot of people have done some digging on this guy. This guy is kind of a D-bag and a troll. Like at one point in time, he worked for one of those companies that sells your cell phone number to all those robocall deals and stuff of that nature. So yeah, he's a troll and whatever. And he's doing whatever he can to make a living.
Maybe it's smart.
But this is a way where he's probably going to get paid.
Well, cheers to it.
He's going to force Snyder to pick a different name that nobody saw coming, and I don't know what that's going to be. But I found this to be very funny, and then I immediately found regret in not just being creative enough to think about things.
Michael,
once again,
by the way,
I wouldn't have done it for the money. I would have done it to get the team name that I want them to have, which is I'm going to buy all the rest of the rights, and I'm not selling them to you.
And I'm only going to give you
one available.
Yeah, I'm only going to give you this one.
I'm only going to give you this one because I think this is what you should do.
Okay.
And I'm a really smart guy, so you should listen to me, which I'm not. I'm a moron, but he doesn't know that.
Michael said maybe Snyder did it, and it'll be his excuse to keep the name. And then he said
he's already said he's retiring the name. So
all we need is another conspiracy theory in D.C. Damien said, "Will that explain?" Yeah, no, never mind. We're not getting into the China thing again. And then Ben said, "The Washington Redskins."
That was one of the naming rights that the guy bought. That's one of the options that the guy bought.
I saw it.
The Redskins. Rad, R-A-D.
Yes.
Has anybody used the word rad in a long time?
Oh, it's been a long time. I wish I could find we had it in our group chat, right? I want to read through some of the names. Do you have them?
What? Hang on. Let me pull it up.
Yeah, sorry, so the names, let's see.
Oh, y'all text too much shit throughout the day.
I know. Here we go. 10 hours ago, CBS News. I got it. Virginia man trademarks dozens of possible new names for Washington NFL team. And let's see.
I'll tell you the names that I found. The names that I think it's going to be. There are three names I think it's going to be. It's either going to be the Washington Red Wolves, the Washington Red Tails, or the Washington Warriors. That's what I think it's going to be, one of those three. He bought the Washington Tribe, the Washington Monuments, the Washington Veterans, the Washington Renegades Gridiron Football, the Washington Braves professional football team, Freedom Fighters, and he bought them with Freedom Fighters with the trademark of WFF, which then I saw, as soon as I thought the WFF, I thought we got to find a way to make the acronym WFT. That's all I would be trying to do if I was a marketing guy for Washington right now. And I wouldn't even tell Dan. I would just do it as just a troll job.
Yeah.
The Washington Warhogs, I thought that was interesting. Radskins.
The Redskins is so ridiculous. I like the Warhogs. That's not crazy.
I actually do like the Warhogs, considering they had the hogs. Red Tail Hawks, and then the Washington Potomacs.
The Potomacs. Yeah. The Potomac River. Yeah, okay.
Now, those are the only ones that they have released. I think this guy bought a lot more than that.
The Washington Red Wolves, yeah, it says that he had 44 different trademarks.
Yeah, okay. Those are the ones that people have actually kicked around one of those names. The Radskins, I just don't understand who the hell would spend money. I wouldn't have bought that one.
The guy, by the way, his name is Martin McCauley. He's been squatting on trademarks for a number of possible Washington team names. Let's see. He says there are only 4 viable options to proceed in time for the 2020 season. He swears he is not looking to turn a profit on this effort. I want them to change the name and am embarrassed if I did anything that slows them down. He tweeted this morning, I thought that if I hoarded all the good names, that would keep someone else who might be a pain in the neck from getting them. McCauley said he has not.
I'm going to be a pain in the neck just so nobody else can be a pain in the neck.
Well, he said that he has not heard from anybody from the team itself on how to proceed. There's speculation that it is because the team is currently looking to choose another name aside from the ones that he has. The Washington Red Wolves has gained serious momentum in recent weeks, including among prominent and former and current Washington players. I mean, it's crazy. He's got all kinds of stuff, man. I'm excited about it. Like I want him to go ahead and knock this out.
I thought it was really funny. People are notorious for doing this all the time, and I thought it was really funny.
No, it's definitely funny. It is definitely that. Let's see. Matt Miller jumps in on YouTube, said, why not the Generals? Damian said, damn it, just call them the Washington Clueless. Matt Miller said, buy the rights from the Globetrotters. Jose said the Washington Spears. Joseph Gomez said, rad. Somebody called Jeff Spicoli and Mr. Hand. I got your Zubaz pants ready. Jose said, would be dope. Michael said he likes the Red Tails name. That's my favorite one. I hope
that's my favorite. That's the only option that I would give him. Yeah. That'd be the only thing I would be left for him. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Damien said, I heard they were going to be the Washington Senators. Michael said, never bought trademarks.
They're not going to do a congressional thing. I assure you that.
No, I doubt that. Michael said, never bought trademarks, but how much are those things? They can run anywhere from like a basic one is $500. It can run up to $1,500 to $2,000. But it's, if you got the money, then you got the money. It's no big deal. Yeah. Damien said, what about the Washington Rugrats? And Ben said, Washington Watergate. So, I will toss it all out there. This is the first time that we've talked about this on the show. And other than just discussing whether or not he was actually going to change it, now that we know what's up, they've got a bunch of them trademarked. He has access to them. The guy's not looking to make a profit. It's no big deal. He was just trying to make sure that they
he's just not looking to make a profit. But you do have to pay me because I bought all 44 of them. So what's a profit? You paid $600 for that one that we're going to get, so I'm going to give you $600. Or do I have to pay you
all of
break even on all of this adventure? Because at the end of the day, I'm still cutting you a check.
Yeah, more than likely.
I'm not looking to make a profit. Okay. He's going to put his time, his labor in there.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Not profit. These are costs. These are costs that I incurred for doing this.
Yeah, I was smarter than you were. I went ahead and got the trademark.
Well, this is dumb on Dan Snyder. Before you even make it seem like as soon as the wind starts blowing in this direction,
you go on and get the trademark.
Like he used to own the Washington Warriors trademark. Okay. He bought that at one point in time, which is why people assume that's what he's going to end up going with. But it's a thing of as soon as you see the wind blowing in this direction, you kind of have an idea of one or two things that you're going to do. Just go ahead and constantly own those. Just always own them. If I was the owner of the Indians or the Braves, I would have 2 or 3 trademarks right now in my bag that I would never let free of.
Well, I mean, you're a billionaire. Go get the trademarks for hire a team. Go get the trademarks.
You don't need 40. You just need to have 2 or 3 that you're happy with in your back pocket at all times because you just don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, no, you got that dead right. Okay, let's dive on from that. We got 2 more topics that we are going to hit on today, and this one seemed like a lot of fun, so I want to make sure that I hit on it. This title, this headline, and it's over at it's Outkick, and man, let me tell you this: Ryan Glasspiegel, who used to be over at The Big Lead, he works for Outkick now, and he puts out some fantastic stuff. Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce beat Post Malone so badly in beer pong, he got their tattoos. This is absolutely insane. It says, if you could choose to be one person on the planet for a day, Patrick Mahomes would have to be high on, if not on the top of the list. He is a Super Bowl champion, has the potential to win many more, given he's only 24 years old, just signed a new contract that could be worth upwards of $500 million, and does not appear to have the anxious qualities that can often be drivers of greatness in others. Clay Skipper profiled Mahomes for GQ, and one anecdote that popped out was the time that he and Travis Kelce beat Post Malone so badly in beer pong that he got their names tattooed on his arm on the spot. That is absolutely insane. The Chiefs had their Super Bowl parade, and then serendipitously, Malone was playing a concert in town that night. Mahomes got an impromptu suite. He and Kelce went backstage before the show. They beat him so badly in beer pong, 14 to 15 games in a row, as Malone went through a number of partners, that the performance was a little delayed, and Malone finally had enough. So he got the names tattooed on his arm right there before he even went on stage. It's a signature, and it's a freaking Chiefs logo. That's Joseph Gomez said Post Malone is a Cowboys fan, so that's surprising. Like, that man's got every kind of tattoo that you can possibly have.
He's just got a million of them, so they don't matter anymore. At some point in time, they lose value because you just have too many.
But it is unbelievable. Like, at 14 to 15 games in a row to lose to somebody, that is... And so it leads to this question, right? Are Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes the best beer pong duo in the NFL?
Nope.
Who would you say is?
It's the easiest answer in the world. It's Rob Gronkowski and Tom Brady.
I think a little differently. I think Kyler Murray could be pretty good at this. And the reason I say this is because I think baseball has a little something to do with this.
I don't.
You don't think so?
Nope.
Okay.
I think practice at this has something to do with this, which is where it helps Rob. And I think competitiveness is where it helps Tom. Tom wasn't a big beer drinker. Have you ever watched the videos of Tom chugging a beer?
Yes, I have seen that. Yes.
He can drink a beer faster than anybody humanly alive that I've ever seen in my life. And he learned to do it because he watched his offensive lineman when he was young, always chugging beers. And he
knew he had to be better at it. Yeah.
And practiced by himself, chugging beers and timing himself. And then the next time they all went out, he didn't say a word. He just stepped up and said, "I'm in." And he took everybody's money.
That's so good.
And they were all just like, what just happened? So I'm going to tell you that you can have the young buck. I'll take the 2 old guys.
I can 100% see that.
Listen, if I didn't know Tom beer drinking abilities, he would be the last person I would guess at this.
Yeah. Because
it just doesn't seem to be his personality. He's just that guy that's got that weird competitive thing to where if he wants to beat you, it's the same thing that made Jordan great. It's if he wants to beat you, he's just going to find a way to do, and he's not going to stop until he does.
Matt Miller said, "How about you guys get a partner and play beer pong with a named tattoo on the line?" Now, I'm all good, brother. My tattoos are done. I'm done for life. I'm good. I got all of mine earlier. Like, I don't have to worry about it now.
I will tell you,
I'll play beer pong.
I had a tattoo bet with a guy once, and he welched. I was ballsy enough to, and you know me, I would not have welched at all. I believe in paying my bets.
What was the tattoo?
It was an Alabama LSU game year, and it was just straight up winner take all. You have to get an LSU tattoo, but it can be anywhere on your body. I have to get an Alabama tattoo, but it can be anywhere in my body. And I was prepared to be branded with an Alabama A on my ass.
And apparently he was not.
No, he wasn't. Oh, no. Well, I mean, he was. He said he was. And we did the bet, and LSU won. It was one of the few times we beat y'all. But
I mean, that had to be a decade ago. Like that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I don't make those bets now, Gary. I'm not a child. I'm not an idiot either. Okay, I definitely did this in my 20s. I'm a 37-year-old man now, Gary. I didn't do it last season. My ego is not that big that I have to be stroked like that. No, I don't do that shit today.
Damien said that's a tramp stamp.
Michael, no. If it's down on the haunches of the ass, that is not a tramp
that's not
stamp.
a tramp stamp. Kyler Murray might have an issue seeing over the cup, said Michael.
Agreed.
It's very true. Matt Miller said Rob Gronkowski and Antonio Cromartie. Gronk because of
I'll
partying.
tell you this, Baker Mayfield is probably sneaky really good at this.
I bet he is. I bet he certainly is. He said Cromartie because he never misses his shot. That's we got some fire in here today. I like this. Michael said Kyle will need Bloomberg's box. Yeah, you got that right. Let's see. Damien said anybody can do it unless you're Aaron Rodgers. And then Michael said Aaron Rodgers' poor beer pong skills probably caused his 89 Madden rating. That's probably right.
There's no doubt Aaron Rodgers would be the worst partner because as soon as he starts doing bad, you know he's going to get pissed off and start yelling at you because he's sucking.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
That's just 100% going to happen.
Man, y'all are on fire.
That's hilarious. That is an awesome story, though.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, Post Malone getting a tattoo, that's like the least interesting part of this. Okay?
Oh, yeah. But the 14 to 15 straight beer pong games that these two.
And I'm going to tell you this. Kelce, like, if I didn't know that this happened.
Yeah.
Kelce Mahomes is probably a pretty good combo that I would take. I'll tell you this. I think you're going to find more tight ends combos than you are wide receiver combos that are good at this. It's going to be a lot of quarterbacks in the tight ends or quarterbacks and an offensive lineman or quarterbacks and the running back over a lot of.
Oh, yeah. Here's how the story goes, by the way. After 9 or 10 games, Post is interrupted by his manager. It's time, he's told, to take the stage. Post waves him off. He needs to win a game. Finally, around the 14th or 15th game, Post decides he needs to up the stakes. He hands a piece of paper to Mahomes and Kelce, and he asks them to write their signatures, and he promises to tattoo the autographs onto his body permanently if they can beat him again. So surely you know how this ends. Post loses. He has a tattoo artist literally in the room, recalls Mahomes, who sounds alarmed even in retrospect. I'm like, dude, you do not actually have to get a tattoo of our autographs. And certainly by now, you know this too, Post Malone is a man of his word, and he gets his new tattoo done backstage. Immediately after the show, inking onto himself a squiggly Patrick Mahomes autograph that looks like it had been written by someone who'd been drinking all day to be tattooed onto someone who's been drinking all day. In asking Mahomes about that epic day, I set the over-under at 20 beers, to which he replied, way over, but added that he doesn't know how many full beers I drank because half the beers were on my clothes. For his part, Post Malone's told me he thinks it's the only tat that ended up on his body as a result of a lost bet. That is nuts. Michael said it's insane how different those guys live. Yeah. Matt Miller said, by the way, Plaxico too, because he doesn't miss his shots either. Man,
Plaxico's going to shoot it and make it in his own cup. Yeah, that's the problem.
That's the biggest problem. Ben said, does Post Malone just take tattoo artists with him everywhere? I wouldn't doubt that.
Oh, well, I'm going to bet. Listen, I'm just going to bet like a guy there knows how to use a tattoo gun. I think we're using the word artist pretty loosely. Right?
Yeah, I think in this case, yes. I think in this case, Damien said Aaron Rodgers would be the one that that you pick last in a dodgeball game. I don't know about that. I'd take Aaron Rodgers in a dodgeball game.
I'll tell you this: we're talking beer pong right now. I really might take Aaron Rodgers like 38th out of all the quarterbacks.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt that at all. I doubt he's ever even
good quarterbacks that probably just don't drink a lot that I'd take my shot with.
Yeah, that's probably right. Probably right. Let's close up. Let's close up the show. So here is the final news of the day. Shams Charania, who is posting all kinds of stuff right now. He is the one that's breaking the news because old Woj got himself suspended over at ESPN. Shams decided to post out today, multiple tips have been placed into the NBA's anonymous hotline to report protocol violations on campus. So we got some snitches in the NBA bubble right now. This Matt Miller said, by the way, Danica is probably better at beer pong than Aaron. I wouldn't doubt that. So he said some players have received warnings from violations, sources said, as league ensures social distancing and mask protocols on campus. You've got a ton of different things going on that we have not hit, Michael Beasley for the Nets has tested positive. He returned home, and his roster status is up in the air. You've also had Kings forward Harrison Barnes has tested positive for the coronavirus. He is in quarantine. He will join the team in Orlando when he's out of that. Oladipo, here's another interesting one from earlier. There's growing belief Pacers star Victor Oladipo will attempt to play in the NBA's restarted season. And then, of course, you've got all kind of other stuff going on. You had Russell Westbrook test positive. Richaun Holmes from the Kings, he crossed the Disney campus line, and all he did was go and pick up delivery food. So, basically, there's a line right here, and he went right there to go get the delivery food, and then he came back in, and he had to quarantine for 10 days. So,
and somebody snitched on him about that?
No. I think somebody actually saw him do that, because you're apparently not supposed to get delivery. I don't guess they know. So here's the deal. Here's my question for you. Are these players going to make it where they don't get to have a season because they can't follow the rules?
No, I think if you're Adam Silver, this is the first time he's going to be an adult, and he's going to say, if you mess this up, you miss out.
Yeah. You are not collecting checks.
If we get this bubble sealed and you break the seal and you and your friends get sick, your friends are out of the bubble. You're out of the bubble. And if you're Russell Westbrook, then tough shit. Yeah.
So Westbrook has already tested positive. Not
that he did anything wrong to get it, but I'm just using that as an example. If you're a star player and you get this and you are breaking rule, you're out.
Yeah. They're quarantined for 14 days until they come back and test positive.
Well, yeah, but if we're in the middle of a series, okay?
Oh, yeah.
And your team is playing in that series, in 14 days, that series will be over.
Then it's a problem. Then it's a
real problem. We're not holding
on
for you. We're not waiting for you.
Yeah. It's going to be nuts. It's going to be nuts. I don't have much else to hit on.
Do you think that this season should have an asterisk by it? This championship?
Yes.
If Giannis wins this title, is this title tainted?
Yes. Yeah.
I just don't know that I agree with that. I think it's really hard to win a tournament.
Oh, it's absolutely hard.
We're going to get to a point where the best 5 or 6 teams in the world are playing against one another in 7-game series. It's going to be a little different because they won't have home court advantage the way you usually do. But I think we're still going to go through a tournament where you're going to have to beat the best 4 or 5 teams.
Oh, no, I agree with that, but it is still just an incredibly different set of circumstances. I mean, this is a whole different season. So, of course, it's we're 4 months later.
I
think it is an asterisk, if only, and I don't think that means that it should count less. I don't think that people should look down on this championship, whoever wins it. I just think people are always going to look back and remember this as that was a weird year. And the ring is still going to look the same. Kevin Durant, everybody discounts his championships. He's still got rings. He got MVPs. I don't discount any kind of championship. You got to go through all kinds of hell to get to it. So, yeah, I'm there. We've got a ton of comments here. Hold on. NBA players are going to get their own season canceled, said Michael. Joseph said, if they catch it, is there a fine once the bubble is locked down? I think so. I don't remember all the protocols and whatnot, but yeah, I think there's some kind of fine.
I bet there's a fine, not based on the catching it, but based on
breaking the bubble,
breaking the violation.
Matt said, once the season starts, I think they will be good, but this point leading up to it is going to be hard for these guys. Yes. I agree with that 100%.
This is what we're worried about, is if we can ever get in the bubble and the bubble sealed and everybody legit and right, then the bubble is going to work.
Yes. Michael said, my question is anyone shocked by this? What did the NBA expect? It's like college with millionaires. Yeah. I mean, that's 100% true. A lot of these guys are really young, really, really young. Damian said, this isn't going to last long, in my opinion. It should have never continued. Sports shouldn't be happening at all right now. Damian coming in with all that positivity and hope. We love you, brother. Matt Miller jumps in. No, I actually think this is harder. No home court, and I don't know what he's saying there. And stopped, and you're away from every comfort you know. Yeah, no, absolutely. Michael said, great show. Thanks, fellas. Gig 'em.
Thanks, guys.
So, yeah, we're running out of here. This has been fantastic. You guys always help drive the show. Thank you for jumping in the chat. As always, Go over to winningcureseverything.com. Go over to sportsbookreview.com. That's where all of our college football coverage will be this fall, if and when we have a season. So we will begin over there in August. Who knows what the previews are going to look like right now, because we don't know what the schedule is going to look like, but we're going to figure it out. I guarantee you. We got half a month to go, so we will be locked and loaded and ready to fire. Go to winningcureseverything.com. Go and subscribe at all of our different live platforms. Make sure you are subscribed on the podcast and leave a nice 5-star review over there. We will read it on the show once you leave it and it pops up. So knock that out for us. Share the show out with your brothers. Tell everybody you know about it. And your sisters, everybody else. Tell everybody. Tell everybody you know. It's going to be a good thing. With that said, Chris, is there anything else we need to hit?
It's
Not a thing. All right. Everybody, take care of yourself. Take care of each other. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for checking out Winning Cures Everything. If you want to keep up with us, hit subscribe on YouTube or your favorite podcast app. Visit the website at winningcureseverything.com, or you can like us on Facebook or follow us at Winning Cures, at Gary WCE, or at Chris B. Giannini on Twitter. Share out the show, leave a nice review, and make sure to comment and